let's dive into our feature stories of the day. Let's discuss the latest with the Omega candle. An Omega candle means a $100,000 candle on the daily chart. I'm going to be sharing the latest updates from Samson Mao, as well as a very epic thread from Balaji, which really struck a chord with me reading it, helping you understand how historic this moment is right now. So let's dive into the latest. I'll start with the Samson Mao tweet. Bitcoin ETFs are approved and trading begins soon in the perfect storm. And yes, he tweeted that right before the trading began. We have officially began. There's already 2 billion in volume. So he wrote here, ETF ad campaigns, which we're seeing every day a new ad from another asset manager. Today, they just launched another one from Van Eck. Nation state adoption. There are many countries which could be adopting Bitcoin this year. He predicts at least 3 of them. Max Kaiser, ultimately saying at least 3 nations are going to adopt Bitcoin as the legal tender. We have a lot of candidates. We have Mexico. We have Suriname. We have Colombia. We have Mexico. I don't know if I just said Mexico, but there's quite a few out there, family. We also have potentially sovereign wealth fund in Qatar, which currently controls $500 billion in assets, could be converting their Bitcoin their sovereign wealth fund into Bitcoin. We also have the Saudi money. We have the largest oil company in Saudi Arabia recently partnered with the largest bank of Japan, SBI Holdings, and they're looking to get into digital assets. What's the #1 digital asset? You already know, family. The halving, which we know is only 3 months out, the Veblen effect, the 118x multiplier, the supply shock, very limited supply of biddies out there on the exchanges, recursive demand shock, the low Bitcoin supply on the exchanges, we just mentioned, the Max Payne theory, renewed QE, and FASB accounting, which is now official, which is going to begin this year. Omega candle awaits us. Here's a glimpse of what the Omega candle will look like, fam. Rising into the heavens. Let's freaking go. He also tweeted that 58% of Bitcoin Twitter expects Bitcoin to rise to $1 million fast and violently, as he shared in this thread, in this poll. What's the most likely path to the inevitable 1 million Bitcoin mark? Slow and gradual rise to 1 million over a number of years, or fast and violent in a very short period of time? And 46% of you said fast and violent, and this got over 93,000 views and 6,800 votes. So let's get it. Now, before I read you this thread about Max Payne and Bitcoin going to 1 million, I want to share the latest from Balaji, because this, again, struck a chord with me and very insightful. I think you're going to enjoy it. History is running in reverse. Now, if you don't know who Balaji is, he was the chief technology officer a long time ago over at Coinbase, and he's the one that made the bullish prediction that Bitcoin would hit $1 million per coin back last year after the regional banking crisis. Nonetheless, here's what he had to share. This is a long thread, so strap in. The Bitcoin ETF is the spiritual reversal of the executive order 6102. Back in 1935, they seized the gold, but now digital gold is back. 90 years ago, FDR and his fellow travelers rode the 20th century arc of centralization. The choke points of the new tech from mass media and mass production allowed them to gain control over the population, recruit the top talent in their brain trust, and seize the gold after a series of epic legal battles. That's right, the Gold Seizure Act of 1933, fam. Those gold clause cases are forgotten today, but received as much contemporary coverage as 9/11 or the moon landing, which were both inside jobs. They were the most important issue in the country, receiving far more coverage than seemingly comparable Supreme Court decisions like Roe versus Wade. Why? The reason is that the transition from a gold-backed to fiat-backed system was comparable to a soft communist revolution, as the visible seizure of gold laid the groundwork for the invisible seizure of wealth via money printing. And the classically trained judges at the time fully understood this. Justice McReynolds, then famous dissent, denounced the ruling in the harshest terms, noting that the Constitution is gone and the dollar may be 30 cents tomorrow, 10 cents the next day, and 1 cent the following day. Now, McReynolds was right. While the court was forced into a grudging institutional surrender by FDR's threat of court packing, the gold clause cause affected every economic decision maker in the country, as it amounted to the U.S. government explicitly defaulting on its bonds by seizing the assets of its citizens, laying the groundwork for the century of monetary debasement to come. Now, all of that is unwinding. FDR's team could ride the wave of centralizing tech that built giant states around the world. But today, tech today favors the centralization. That's right. Personal computers, end-to-end encryption, mobile phones, and of course, cryptocurrency. Thus, today, talent isn't being pulled into a government brain trust. It is being drained out of the U.S. establishment. And as a consequence, the epic legal battles are on balance going our way. It is not just the DC Circuit case. The ideological conflict of decentralization and centralization is reflected in the 3-2 vote for the Bitcoin ETF approval itself. Reed Pierce's brilliant pro-liberty approval, Crenshaw's Tor denial, and Gensler's reluctant approval. We all hate Gensler. If you want to see Gensler fired, put a 1 in that live chat. Y'all see the echoes of the gold clause cuss, but in reverse. This time, it is the centralized state that is being forced into a grudging institutional surrender. And a surrender it is, as Crenshaw's dissent makes clear. There is no primary regulator for the Bitcoin spot markets. Spot Bitcoin ETPs, exchange-traded products, will be participating in an unregulated, fragmented, continuously traded, globally free-for-all. Even if there were a primary regulator for this market, much of it could be beyond the reach of U.S. regulation. Let that sink in. This is what the U.S. establishment truly fears. Not Bitcoin as fraud, but Bitcoin as freedom. Preach! They want to rule not just you, but the world. So they're scared of the prospect of a global free-for-all beyond the reach of U.S. regulation. And they know that any spot ETF will bid up the price of self-custodied Bitcoin outside of their control, just as Satoshi intended. Facts. So since FDR's seizure of gold, our lives have revolved around the centralized state rather than the decentralized market. The state has had control for so long, we have forgotten what freedom is. But now, gold is slipping out of their hands and back into yours. History is running in reverse. What a powerful thread, family. Let me know your thoughts on that. And I also want to share with you some of the highlights of this thread from Samson Mow, which he published on January 8th on why we're going to $1 million Bitcoin in days to weeks after this ETF approval. And guess what? This is day one, family. So he's potentially saying we can expect potentially $1 million Bitcoin price this freaking week. Let's go. Here's what he says. Bitcoin has a way of doing what we least expect in the most disruptive way. For example, at Jan 3, we had many plans and meetings set for 2024. 1 million Bitcoin could derail everything. Now, number one, ideally, we have a good couple of years to onboard nation states at Jan 3. Fast 1 million means we're out of time. 50 countries reach out frantically and we're overloaded. All of the careful planning and proposals are out the door. Just smash buying Bitcoin and no sleep. For the team, no sleep. Where you at? Number two, fast 1 million Bitcoin means that Plan B stock to flow model breaks again, just when it was looking like it was going on the track record. Max Payne. Number three, Lightning is completely unusable for anyone not using custodial wallet or Aqua Bitcoin. Fast 1 million means fees are super high in dollar terms. No new Bitcoin users can afford to create a new Lightning wallet. Max Payne. Number four, fast 1 million Bitcoin means Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy never reached their goal of stacking 1% of the Bitcoin supply. Right now, they're sitting at roughly 0.9%, which is roughly 1%, and their goal, FYI, is to have 5% of the circulating supply, meaning they are looking to hodl 1 million Bitcoin. Right now, they have close to 200,000. So close, so very close, Max Payne-ish. Upside is MicroStrategy is now in the top 30 most valuable companies on the world list. Number five, El Salvador and other countries missed the window to issue their Bitcoin bonds and accumulate substantial stacks of Bitcoin at sub 100,000. The IMF debt still looms. Max Payne. Number six, Christine Lagarde and many high-regarded economists, lose their jobs, but I think we're okay with this one. Hyper-Bitcoinization and fiat hyperinflation begins in 1 to 2 years after a $1 million price action for Bitcoin. Max Payne. Hyper-Bitcoinization. Let's go. Number seven, Peter Schiff and the gold bugs suffer a collective mental breakdown. After Bitcoin goes to 1 million fast, gold is still hovering around 2,000. Max Payne. Number eight, the plebs are not immune either. Many will be stuck with a number of unspendable UTXOs worth $500 to $1,000. Many others, not you of course, will sell at 100,000 only to buy back at 500,000. Max Payne. Number nine, 8 billion people on the planet just missed the most important opportunity of their lifetimes to get into Bitcoin when it would have made a significant economic difference. They can now only work to earn Bitcoin. I think this is the biggest one. Max Payne. And number 10, the entire legacy financial system will need to very quickly reorganize around Bitcoin as the new base. Businesses will need to be able to accept Lightning, and companies will have to rapidly convert cash reserves to Bitcoin, and none of them are remotely ready. Max Payne. And here's his conclusion. So my point is that the probability of Bitcoin making an unexpected move that results in Max Payne for the largest number of people is the most likely outcome. That means 1 million Bitcoin fast. send it. And also because of these reasons, plan accordingly. The ETF approvals aren't priced in. The halving isn't priced in. More nation state adoption isn't priced in. Renewed QE isn't priced in. The multiplier effect isn't priced in. The Veblen effect isn't priced in. And all of this is happening at the same time, all of which is not priced in. So there you have it, my crypto fam. Let me know if you agree with that sentiment. Let me know your feedback.